I can't say it was one of those it wasn't Mahomes and Josh Allen from the playoffs last year, but the back and forth shot by shot with Mahomes making some incredible plays and Herbert making some more incredible plays with dinged up ribs. And look, Brandon Staley said it looks like that he's going to be okay. The next game is in 10 days, so certainly Herbert's got some time to heal. I'm sure the ribs are a big deal because he went down on Hannah's helmet when he got sacked. So that's going to be something that he's going to deal with. But to come back in the game after throwing the pick six, after getting hit, leading them down, throwing that touchdown, it was almost like watching, it felt like a wild card game in the playoffs. That's the kind of back and forth game. Didn't feel like it was, hey, this is football at the highest level, but it felt like one of those, the teams are playing well, and it is shot for shot. It is a puncher against another puncher, and whoever's left standing at the end. It felt like an early round wild card playoff game.
Yeah, slugfest with two of the heavyweights getting after it, and certainly some ugly moments along the way. As you were watching this game, I started seeing folks clowning on the Chiefs, and look, you're just trying to pick up victories early on and, succeed and proceed. That you'll learn, the timing will get better, and you'll go through. And this is one of those that, yeah, you got a pick six mixed in, but Mahomes made throws when they counted. Chargers couldn't secure would-be interceptions when it counted. Time and again. So all those would have, could have, should haves, they don't matter. Okay, they dropped the ball. Go back to the jugs gun. Or as Asante Samuel kind of joked about, yeah, I got a Nerf football after dropping some. So maybe he'll send his son a Nerf football. I fear what his locker looks like from fans that may do the same. But you go through the process with Justin Herbert, and you make big throws. I want to point out something Warren Sharp just put up on his Twitter account, at Sharp Football, SHARP, leave off the E, football. Herbert had 2 pass attempts over 17 yards tonight. 2 for 2, 74 yards. 15 attempts at or behind the line of scrimmage. 2 attempts over 17 yards.
That's like watching Joe Flacco.
But you watch the rocket arm at the end, and it's the joke that we had with Ben Roethlisberger last year. That's exactly what we just saw. And he was efficient, right? Dump offs and making plays and extending plays, changing the arm angles, whatever through, and then obviously battling through rib, cartilage, whatever that ends up becoming. But the fact that you're not pushing the ball downfield is a bit curious for what this offense is projected to be. But we got treated to a nice start to week 2. Now, the under comes in for you wagering folks, and that last touchdown was not insignificant, as the spread was either 3.5 or 4 with the Chargers as underdogs. So, as many have surmised in social media, too many to credit, the idea that Justin Herbert gave his body to get you your bet to come in and that you could cash a ticket. Good on him. I also had the Chiefs, winning by 10 when we made our picks last night. And so that touchdown, while it benefited me for fantasy purposes, for my brilliance of calling a game, it kind of screwed me.
Well, and I hate to say I told you so, but my pick last night was the Chiefs win, but the Chargers cover. Ta-da! I'm already 1-0 this week.
The fans are, I went 11-5 last week.
I'm feeling pretty good.
12-3-1, straight up. Damn Texans. Lovie Smith, what the hell are you doing? I'm still mad about it. We didn't talk about it because it's an also-ran game in the grand scheme of things. But I'm taking the 30 seconds here. You're playing for a bleeping tie? You're projected to win 6 games, 5 games, whatever the hell it is, and you're going to play for a tie.
No, think about it. You're not being projected to win games. He was saying how many games are we projected not to lose, and that way the tie makes sense.
I hate you. That's good wordsmithing, though.
You like that, right?
That is good.
Yeah.
I like that.
How many games? Hey, don't think about his games projected to win. Just think about games projected not to lose.
No, I dig that.
But look. we spent time on Herbert. We'll have more on the Chargers. And look, yes, it looked like by design it was let's get rid of the ball fast tonight, and that's clearly what the Chargers did. Look, Herbert still threw for 334, a lot of yak tonight.
Sure.
But Mahomes tonight was really, really good. This wasn't 5 touchdowns. I'm picking apart a defense that is clearly overmatched. The Chargers' defense is really good, and it's just going to get better. J.C. Jackson was playing his first game back, and he barely missed that long touchdown pass to Watson. The Chargers' defense is legit, and Mahomes was still 235 through the air and a couple of touchdowns. I mean, he played a really efficient game. He made smart throws. He also got risky with some throws that he was able to get away with, because the Chargers could have had 2 or 3 picks that they just dropped the ball on. I mean, they literally, I don't mean, they dropped the ball. No, they literally dropped the ball. They could have had picks. Asante Samuel Jr. had a pick, could have been a pick 6 in the end zone, but he drops the ball. This is why I always say ball skills, young DBs. You got to have ball skills.
Well, yeah, the other one that should have been secured and ended up being trapped against the ground. What did they do? They immediately went down and scored.
Ball skills. But the biggest thing for the Chiefs this year, and now I always admit when I get something wrong. Well, not always, but I admit when I get something. But I'm not saying I got this wrong.
I'll also let people know when you were wrong.
I'm not saying I got this wrong as much as I underrated this. And I underrated this, and I shouldn't have, because of the competitor Patrick Mahomes is. All right, now, last year, coming off last season, the Chiefs knew, well, we need a little bit of change. And change is inevitable, because when you're paying your quarterback as much as you are, you can't pay a bunch of other guys. And you see what happened with Tyreek Hill. We're not going to be able to re-sign him. Let's move on. We'll get draft picks. And now, with Patrick Mahomes, it's going to be, we have a lot of get-by guys at receiver. Same thing with the Green Bay Packers, right? Now we're paying Aaron Rodgers $50 million a year. We're not going to sign Devontae Adams, so let's trade him and get some picks for him. So now, hey, it's on you guys to make it work, Mr. $50 million man. And this is what you have to work with. You have a bunch of guys at wide receiver. Guys will draft. We'll go after one-year guys in free agency like Juju Smith-Schuster and see if that winds up working. And that was going to be the adjustment for the Chiefs and Mahomes. And Mahomes is still the best quarterback in the NFL. I wasn't subscribing to the Chiefs are done theory as much as things are going to be a little bit more difficult, but they're still going to throw the football a ton, and Mahomes is going to be terrific. But was I buying the Chiefs to be a team that, hey, here we are hosting the AFC Championship game again? I was not. And this is what I did not take into account enough. This is what I underrated. The Patrick Mahomes middle finger tour effect. That all Mahomes did over the course of the offseason was hear things like, you're not as good as you think you are. Tua Tagovailoa is a better, more accurate passer than you, said by the guy that, by the way, was the number 1 target of Patrick Mahomes for the past few years. He's had to hear pundits and experts say, yeah, Mahomes, he's not going to be the same. Guys aren't going to be able to bail him out. He doesn't have the same players on offense. You can neutralize him. You can run around. You can rush him with 3 or 4 players, and he has trouble getting the ball downfield. Some of the rare stars are able to find that extra motivation in certain seasons to sustain them. And it's not quite midlife of Patrick Mahomes' career, but we're getting close to the second half of his career. The guy's been in the league for a while, and he's been a big star. And after a while, even the biggest stars need the challenges to get them through a season, to keep them hungry. And I underrated and undervalued the Patrick Mahomes middle finger tour effect of how much he loves walking around. You can tell already, showing everybody, yeah, you think I'm not going to be good? Blank you, watch this, right? What did he do looking at the sideline, the Cardinal sideline last week after he threw that 4th touchdown? Puts the 4 fingers up. 4 touchdowns I got on you. 4, 4, 4. He is enjoying that effect. He is enjoying that, hey, this is that little bit of motivation, right? Even though he doesn't seem like that kind of guy, because Mahomes is like, hey, look, I just go out and play. Even Steph Curry, embraced, oh, you're not that good. You can't get a shot off at the end of games, which is true. Can you really still lead the Golden State Warriors to a championship? Even Steph Curry, who is the biggest aw shucks superstar in sports, embraced it, and now he's a champion again. Mahomes certainly has that I took that personally edge to his game right now. You can see it in his play. You can hear it in his sound bites, and that I did not take that into account when breaking down the Chiefs for this year. That's my mistake. And I feel shame for it because I should have. I feel shame, but that's
bell.
Something that is sustaining Mahomes. That middle finger. Hey, you think I'm done? Yeah, watch what I'll show you this season. I did not take enough of that into account.
Shame bell will be reactivated. The one thing I liked about the Chiefs, and not to say again that they'll host AFC title game, I do have them going and winning the Super Bowl because I'm gutsy and perhaps stupid. That way, that they emerge from this West. Why? Because coaching and quarterbacking. And I'll give Andy Reid the benefit of the doubt that he'll be able to adapt and that Patrick Mahomes is that guy that is able to adapt from the game they were playing. All right, we talked about it with Jay Glazer a bit last hour of relishing a bit of that, of changing up how he's perceived to a degree. Because at this point it's been, all right, he's a wizard, and he made one of those throws today, but relying on the deep ball. And after the comments that Tyreek Hill had of basically, hey, I made you. Yeah, I mean, that's the internal thing is blank you, not to media and pundits, but yeah, this guy that you just helped collect a giant pile of cash. And he was basically, well, I made you. Which is a whole other, how about that for turnabout being fair play? Now, it'll be more difficult. It'll be different. It takes time to grow. So the fact that they got to win against an Arizona team that people, whatever the jokes are about Kyler Murray, his contract and all, the expectations were still that they'll be competitive and either a playoff team or one that's still playing meaningful football deep into December. And then you go out and you beat the Chargers, the team that's supposed to come up and get you. And everybody love affair with Justin Herbert. But, we saw Staley a couple times today punt on 4th and short. And I think a lot of folks, there were those collective blips where, it's kind of like when we get to the top of the hour and there's that moment of panic because there's silence before the update with Steve DeSager. And you're still wondering if something's gone catastrophically with your connection or with your radio signal. It's the same thing there where it's like, all right, skip a heartbeat. Because of what's happening with some of those decisions that we've seen from the Chargers in the past. So it's, for Mahomes, it'll be different. You'll get explosive plays on occasion, right? You did have the 50-yarder to Watson. But you will see long, protracted drives. They're going to need more out of the run game. I saw some folks going, why don't they go back and try to get Kareem Hunt? They're not getting Kareem Hunt back. They might get someone who gets cut by somebody else. They're not getting Kareem Hunt back. But Travis Kelce as the head of a 5 or 6 pronged attack. I mean, you're watching shows about dragons. There's 5-headed dragons mixed in some of those shows. So that's what they've got. And now he just has to become a better distributor. And if that defensive front can play like they did and get after Herbert like they did in the second half, again, some injuries on the O-line for the Chargers, but you go and run past and block and run through whoever's on the field. If they can get that kind of pressure, yeah, they're going to have an opportunity to do some great things.
You have an idea right there. Just say, tie shirt. As I told you, House of the Dragon, it's a little too dull and dragging. If you wanted to introduce a 5-headed dragon, that might get everybody back in.
How do you know they're not going to?
I don't know. I mean, a 5-headed. What's to stop with a 5-headed dragon? Maybe a 6-headed dragon.
Now you're getting crazy.
Or a 7-headed dragon. You've heard of 7. Like the 7-minute abs always go less. 6-minute abs, 5. How about a dragon with 2 heads, with 3 heads?
Well,
with
now
4 heads,
I
with 5
bring
heads?
that up specifically with the 5 heads because my daughter does theater work at her high school, as you well know, and she was going in to make a presentation of what they might do for this program they're getting ready to do after they're done with Chicago. So she wanted to go in and say, here are my ideas for props and design and how we could orchestrate this. And one of the things was actually building a 5-headed dragon.
Oh, okay.
We sat and talked about it last night for about a good half hour. All right, you would need this, and if you constructed this right. And she goes, remember those stupid tunnels that we had when we were little kids that we'd crawl through and whatever else? I'm like, yeah. She goes, we get a couple of those. I go, no, we find kids that aren't so little anymore, and we steal theirs.
Wow. Oh, wow. What? You want to just
steal
little
was
kids.
just a fun term to use.
You want to
there.
just steal little kids' enjoyment. Wow.
No. I said that they were done with.
What do you mean? How do you know they're done? If they're little kids, maybe they're still using it. Why would you have to steal them?
Because it was more fun that way.
Whoa.
I mean,
Mike
no matter
he
how
wants
many
to
of those I
steal
take,
from
though, I
little
would
kids.
never get to the felony count. Still awaiting you for that mailbox.
No. You don't make this about me. You just said you would steal toys from children.
Well,
From
I mean,
little
that
children.
and lollipops and whatever else Montgomery Burns did.
Little kid
It's
out
good
on a
enough for him.
tricycle for the first time riding his tricycle. Harmon would say, beat it, pick the kid, take him off it, get on the tricycle, take it down the street and say, beat it, jerk. Ha! You would do that to a kid. You would take that from a kid.